Before Aaron Taylor Johnson found his footing in horror with 28 years later and the upcoming Bone Temple, he already had experience staring down monstrous threats. While many remember him as Quicksilver in the Avengers movies or the irreverent hero in Kick-Ass, one of Taylor Johnson's most pivotal early roles came in 2014 as the lead in Gareth Edwards' Godzilla, the explosive film that launched legendary's MonsterVerse. Although it's been overshadowed by flashier sequels, Godzilla is a foundational entry in the now expansive kaiju franchise. Its grounded tone and restrained use of visual spectacle make it a unique chapter in the MonsterVerse, one that introduced essential mythology, key characters, and a more tactical, boots-on-the-ground perspective compared to the bombastic battles that followed. And for fans of Taylor Johnson's grittier turns in horror, his performance as Ford Brody might be the franchise throwback you didn't know you needed. A destructive past awakens the future. The film opens with a dual narrative, a scientific discovery in the Philippines and a nuclear disaster in Japan. Scientists from Monarch, the shadowy organization later central to the franchise, uncover something buried beneath the earth, ancient spores belonging to giant creatures. At the same time, Joe Brody, Bryan Cranston, suspects seismic anomalies at his nuclear power plant aren't just natural quakes. His instincts prove right when a disaster strikes, killing his wife and altering his family's future forever. 15 years later, Joe's estranged son, Ford Brody, Taylor Johnson, is an explosive ordnance disposal officer in the U.S. Navy. Called to Japan after Joe is arrested, Ford becomes entangled in a global catastrophe when a winged monster, a Muto, massive unidentified terrestrial organism, emerges. As humanity scrambles to respond, another ancient force rises from the depths, Godzilla. But unlike the Mutos, Godzilla isn't humanity's enemy, he's a balance-restoring apex predator. The movie that started it all. While later entries like Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong, and Godzilla x Kong, the new empire leaned heavily into mythic showdowns and sci-fi spectacle. Godzilla, 2014, is a more restrained and atmospheric affair. It establishes Monarch as a global organization tracking ancient titans and provides key exposition about Earth's hidden history with these creatures. Though some critics dismissed the film for holding back on monster action, this slow-burn approach allowed Edwards to build tension and mystery around Godzilla, recalling the tone of classic kaiju cinema. Taylor Johnson's Ford Brody plays the everyman caught in a worldwide disaster, a soldier with personal stakes and a desperate mission to protect his family as the monsters converge. This film also marks Monarch's first real moment in the spotlight. The events of 2014 forced the organization into action, shifting their role from observers to active participants in Titan affairs. Without this foundation, later entries, and even spin-offs like Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, wouldn't carry the same weight. Why Godzilla still matters to the MonsterVerse. Some newer MonsterVerse fans skip Godzilla, assuming all they need to know is giant lizard fights giant bugs. But dismissing the film misses how much groundwork it actually laid. Monarch's origins, though fully explored later in Kong, Skull Island, and Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, Godzilla introduced the organization's purpose: to study and contain titans. It's where we first meet Dr. Serizawa, Ken Watanabe, who becomes a philosophical anchor for the series. Titan Dynamics. The 2014 film establishes titans as more than rampaging monsters. Godzilla's role as a guardian of balance is a key theme carried through King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong. The Muto's legacy. Though defeated by the end of the film, the Mutos represent a broader species concept later referenced in King of the Monsters and beyond. Their role in awakening Godzilla is what kicks off the modern Titan era. Human impact. Unlike the later sequels, Godzilla spends more time with people, their fear, their loss, their awe. It's a disaster movie in the truest sense, where humanity is vulnerable and largely powerless in the face of these ancient beings. Taylor Johnson's quiet strength amid the chaos. As Ford Brody, Taylor Johnson doesn't play a swaggering hero or comic relief. He's a grounded, composed presence in a film full of chaos. His military background adds realism, while his emotional connection to the story, having lost his mother and trying to save his own family, keeps the stakes personal. It's a far cry from the flashy superpowers of Quicksilver or the gory irreverence of Kick-Ass, but it's a reminder of Taylor Johnson's range as a leading man. With his recent foray back into horror via Nosferatu and 28 years later, his performance in Godzilla feels even more relevant, a serious, tension-filled role with real emotional gravity. Looking ahead, will Taylor Johnson return? Although Taylor Johnson hasn't reprised his role in any subsequent MonsterVerse entries, the franchise is far from over. With the success of Godzilla x Kong and continued expansion through series like Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, there's always room to bring back earlier characters, especially one who helped anchor the franchise's beginning. Given how interconnected the MonsterVerse has become and how beloved nostalgia-fueled callbacks are today, it's not impossible that Ford Brody could return in a future installment. Whether or not that happens, Godzilla 2014 remains an essential and underrated part of the kaiju canon, a forgotten classic that deserves a rewatch. If you're coming off the adrenaline high of 28 years later and want to see more of Aaron Taylor Johnson facing larger-than-life terror, Godzilla is a perfect companion piece. It's grounded, gritty, and full of quiet intensity, and it's the film that made the MonsterVerse possible. Don't let the newer, flashier entries overshadow it. Rewatch Godzilla not just as an origin story, but as a moody, measured monster movie that helped redefine what kaiju cinema could look like in the modern era.